Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. And today I'm going to continue to answer your political questions. Now, I have a whole cadre of spirit guides that I rely on and that I'm grateful to for helping me do this. And I'm a little chagrined because honestly, the last video I did, which came out Friday night, well, I have this whole group of spirit guides, and typically they coalesce as one or two energies, and that's like enough, right? Like I don't need to talk to 10 different spirit guides. Now, of course, Edward R. Murrow is separate, but I met a new, I don't know, I met this new young lady spirit guide and I didn't recognize her. And I was like, who are you? She's like, basically, she's been really important to these videos, and I just want to apologize to her online because, I mean, I didn't know. So anyway, look, it's complicated. What I do is complicated. Now, if you can't tell, if you're new here, oh, thank you so much. I channel these videos. I am a conscious channel. I'm 60% them, or I didn't catch her name. But anyway, these spirit guides that coalesce as one, and me. The rest of it is me. 40% is Susan. We do it this way because even though, yes, I can channel, I can very easily go into a trance channel like that. I can give up all my faculties and become whatever entity I'm channeling. I have those on my playlist. Now, however, the spirit guides think that this is a better deal because you guys respond more. Humans respond more to a human. So they feel like their message is better communicated through a human in this way. So here we are. It's like kind of jerk, drag, kind of thing, because sometimes they show me pictures. Sometimes they give me words. Sometimes they give me precise words that they want me to say in a precise way. You'll see me stop the bus, back up, get the right word, spit it out. Sometimes you'll see me even struggle to even figure out what it is they're trying to say, because sometimes they show me the picture, but I can't get the word or any number of things. So thanks for riding along today. And thanks for giving me the grace to get it out of my mouth and to get it to you. And yeah, great. So I've got my wonderful spirit guide chick with me, which is super awesome. Let's see what we're going to do together. And you guys sent in your questions. I'm going to attempt to answer them right now. Wonderful. Carolyn Marquez says, does Mark Meadows. Now, listen, if you've been living under a rock, and I always tell you guys to send your address in, just share it with me. You don't have to share it with everybody on YouTube. I just need to know what rock you are under so I can crawl under there with you. I don't take up a lot of space, but if you have chocolate, that would be a bonus. Because if you've been living under a rock, you might not know that Mark Meadows has flipped. He has flipped. I have 3 really important questions for Mark Meadows to start off this round of you ask the spirit guides and hopefully they answer. So you want to know, Carolyn, does Mark Meadows know who the pipe bomber is? And it's so funny because last night I was listening to a guided meditation to go to sleep. I was just trying to get my brain to stop working. And the guided meditation, the guy says, go into this cave, you see this treasure chest, you open it up, you pull out this scroll and you unravel the scroll and you get to ask the question you've always wanted to know. Y'all know what I asked at 11 o'clock last night when I'm in my bed in my jammies trying to go to sleep? I asked, who is the pipe bomber? That's what I ask. I'm like, Susan, this is not working. Your work is now toxic. It is now invaded your sleep. You got to get it together, girl. I'm asking the guided meditation who the pipe bomber is. This is how bad it is, y'all. This is how bad it is. Okay, so I'm asking, and look, they're talking to me because I have a ringing that goes in my left ear when they're talking to me. They're probably saying, abort mission. Pull out, stop the recording. Yeah, they stopped the ringing. You got to have fun with them. because they have fun with me. Believe me, they have a lot of fun with me. Life should be fun. This is what they're trying to get me to do. They said, take everything too seriously. Okay, fine. I'm not going to take it seriously anymore. I'm going to blow the whole thing up. I don't care. Okay, now, enough about me. Let's talk about the pipe bomber, for the love of God. Okay. I'm sorry, dear. She's probably really regretting she signed up to be the point person on this deal. Okay. She says I have ADHD or something. I don't know. I don't know what I have. Okay. Mark Meadows. Does he know who the pipe bomber is? So the thing is, what they were telling me again was that this guy lied about his book. Now, why does that have anything to do with the pipe bomber? Well, because he wrote a memoir and he literally lied his way through it. And now the book publisher is suing him because he lied. So my point is, they couldn't trust this man with any information. I know he's quote unquote the architect. He's not the architect. You know what he is? He was the big dummy in the room. That's what he was. He was the big dummy in the room. This is what the guides are telling me. I hope it's our new chick, but I don't know. It kind of sounds even pushier than she is. They're saying that this guy was like a piece of furniture. Like, he thought he was smart. He thought he was brilliant, but nobody really listened to him. But they allowed him to be in the room. He was there. Why he's important to Jack Smith is because he was there. He was literally there. He does know what happened. And it's just like they're showing me Eric Trump on the stand on Friday, I think, saying, no, I don't know about that. No, I never did this. And then apparently the prosecution would put up an email. You don't know about that? Really? Can you read this email? So after like the 10th time they did that to him, he screamed. He literally lost his temper. Well, this is what they're kind of showing me about Mark Meadows. He was there. He didn't know what the hell was going on, but he was there. So does he know who the pipe bomber is? Not exactly. Could he figure it out? Yes, he could, because he knows all the players and he knows what he's really good at, whereas he's sort of like a piece of furniture that maybe isn't the most brilliant legal mind out there or the most brilliant thinking mind out there. He does know people. He knows relationships. He knows how, and that's how he got this position. He knew how to play Trump. He knew how to play the players that were playing Trump. So he is a strategist from the standpoint of understanding what makes people tick, why they would do this, why they wouldn't do that. So he understands how to play people. In that way, he could very well tell you who the pipe bomber is, because he would know this person was friends with this person or in cahoots with this person and they didn't like that person. So I don't think he directly knows who it is. Or let me change that up. See, I didn't get the translation right. At the time, he did not know who it was. They really, really took how did I describe it? So like if you had a criminal organization and if one little group of your criminals got infiltrated, you wouldn't want those criminals to know everything, right? Because you don't want them to be able to have the domino effect through your entire organization. So they walled off groups. They created a group for this, created a group for this, created a group for that. There wasn't cross communication. Everything was tried to be kept sanitized. You know who they just showed me? Who knows who the pipe bomber is? This should scare the living daylights out of all of us. And that is the pillow guy of all people. He knows who it is. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm trying to hold it together. The energy is really strong. And when it gets like this, I feel like I'm, got 18 draft horses running completely out of control. And I'm supposed to like guide them to stay on the path. That's not going to happen. But anyway, so I do believe that Jack Smith, let me double check. Does Jack Smith know who the pipe bomber is? The FBI knows who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who the pipe bomber is. Or why doesn't Jack Smith know about it? Is it under Jack Smith's purview? They're going to release. Yeah, this is the part that makes me mad. And when I get mad, I go in resistance. And when I go in resistance, that little girl that was, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're not a little girl. That young lady that was here just went poof because I went into resistance. So now I got to get back, because the thing that makes me mad is that the powers that be feel like they feel like I feel. They feel like there's 18 draft horses running, just careening through the roads of America, the energetic roads of America. And they're trying to keep it from going berserk, from running off the road, from creating mayhem. The guides have talked about this a lot, that if everybody, and now they're showing me Alvin Bragg, if Alvin Bragg is going to be keying up, they told me yesterday, the guides told me, Alvin Bragg is lining up the criminal part of the Trump org case that is civil, that is happening right now. So you have Alvin Bragg, you have all these, you've got Fonnie Willis, Tish James, Jack Smith, and then whatever these states that are doing things, plus the IRS, plus. All of this can't go down at once. The powers that be say it cannot happen, because it would push us over the cliff. It would push these MAGAs into the streets. It would make everything out of control. So they're trying to make control. They're trying to make something out of chaos. They're trying to calm everything down. And the powers that be want to do this way. They want, we're not even talking about Eileen Cannon. I mean, they just written that off. But Jack Smith, get his time at bat. Okay, here comes, Tish James. She's got her time at bat right now. Then Bragg is going to get his time, and then Willis is going to get her time, right? So everybody, it's like, we're not going to let everybody hit the ball at once. You can't play a game like that. It's chaos. So that's what's going on. I don't know if that made any sense. You can understand how I do this work. The guides start talking about Alvin Bragg, and then I'm talking about this. I'm sorry. I would like to be very succinct. The Virgo in me is in pain right now, but I can't. It's just how I get the information, and it is what it is. I have no idea what I just said anyway. Oh my God. I wonder how long this video is so far. I should just say, and that's all, and just hit the stop button right now. Okay. Next question about Mark Meadows. And this is a really good question. And the guides were talking to me about this a few days ago, and I didn't quite understand what they were saying. And Cheryl's question helps me understand it better. So for the love of God, please be brief. Okay. Your question is, and you know who I'm talking to when I say brief. Your question is, you're wondering what type of immunity Mark Meadows was given. Was it use immunity or transactional immunity? Now, thankfully, Cheryl goes on to explain what the hell she's talking about. Here's the definition. Transactional immunity protects the witness from prosecution for the offense or offenses involved. Okay, so transactional immunity protects the witness from prosecution for the offense or the offenses involved, the offenses. Whereas immunity only protects the witness against the government's use of his or her immunized testimony in a prosecution of the witness. Do you guys understand? It seems like transactional immunity says, whatever these offenses you did, we're not going to, you're immune, your immunity. And immunity means, well, only your testimony. You could testify against Trump based on these things we're asking you. Now, you might understand, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but the guides are saying, why am I on the witness stand? I mean, let's say if he's on the witness stand and he says, I'm testifying that Trump did X, Y, Z. And in the meanwhile, while he's testifying, well, it becomes obvious to the prosecutors that this guy must know a lot more about XYZ. He's not testifying to that, but the fact that he knows about XYZ opens up Meadows for more charges, right? Okay. So that's what the guides were trying to tell me the other day. They told me that Meadows, let me ask again, because now they're talking about civil. I asked them to be brief, and civil is not criminal. And now we went from criminal to civil. Why? I just want to know why. Why? My brain is not big enough. Okay. Okay. Maybe what they're saying is he's protected from criminal, but not civil. Oh, okay. That's good. That's good information. Okay. And then, you guys, they're trying to put like this big freaking high vibration information in this, you know what I mean? Like this human container. I mean, it's not the easiest thing. Anyway. So what they said was, I think, and they think that he's protected giving his testimony, which would be your version, according to this definition, will be immunity. He's protected giving testimony. But I see him being liable for civil charges. I mean, obviously he's getting sued by his publisher, but I mean civil charges stemming from January 6th. Like perhaps maybe this means some of those people that got harmed, some of those police officers got harmed, may be able to sue him. So that it does open up this door. Now, the other thing that was interesting was what the guides are telling me, what I think I understand, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but I think I understand is that Fani Willis is different immunity, or whoever gave him immunity, the other one didn't give him immunity. The crime is different. So I'm going to just say that he doesn't have blanket immunity. I don't think he does. I think he has more than immunity. I think he has more immunity than just basic, I'm going to testify against Trump. I think he made a deal that is a hybrid. I think he added some things in there that he thinks covers his base. Now, the thing that's always interesting about this is that these criminals think they know what the prosecutors have on them. They only got me for this. They didn't get me for this. But you would be very wrong to underestimate Jack Smith or Fani Willis, because this is why the Trump family is literally creating a new festival called Perjury Palooza, because they're perjuring themselves thinking that these people, these prosecutors, don't have the goods on them. They're so full of hubris and ego. They think these prosecutors are not smart enough, that the state, that the DOJ doesn't hire, can't afford these mastermind prosecutors. They're wrong. And they're going to pay the price. This is what I just got with Meadows. Meadows thinks that the prosecutors don't have this information, so he did not include this in his immunity deal. He is going to be so surprised when they jump out of that cake and they say, ta-da, more charges. You should have really taken us more seriously. You underestimated us, and now we're going to drag you right back through this court process, except for now you are going to be on the witness stand as a defendant. So that's really fascinating. And again, the guides say 5D, 8D chess versus checkers, right? They're playing checkers and the prosecutors are playing 5D chess. All right. The last thing, I mentioned it briefly. Your question, El Blaso, is will Mark Meadows' publisher win their suit against him and get their money back from the book deal? I don't think their money. What are they suing him for? I think he got $300,000 for writing the book. I think. I don't know what they're suing him for. I don't remember now, but I don't see them getting a judgment. That's what it is. They get a judgment against him. Will they win a judgment? I think that's what the guides are saying. I hear no. I get in line. The guides said, get in line. Remember how the guides just said this civil cases are going to start popping up for all these people. I mean, honestly, I think you might see civil cases against Trump, against potentially Eric or even Don Jr., because I think the civil cases are going to be allowed, and they're going to be against Meadows, and they're going to be against the pillow guy. So you're going to have a long line of people trying to get money out of these people. And I don't think they have that much money. I don't think Meadows, well, they just showed me, and this is for entertainment purposes only, and allegedly that Meadows has an offshore account. And I have to be careful because I had to cut a whole portion out of my last video because the guides told me to. I had to cut out an entire portion that I thought I've said it before. Let's just say that I've said it before. And it has something to do. And they're like looking at me like, are you crazy? We already had you edit a video. I don't know, y'all. I'm going to blame it on the energy. I'm just going to blame it on the energy and lack of chocolate. I'm not eating cheese. I'm not eating chocolate. What do they expect? What do they expect? I'm decompensating. I'm barely hanging on. Okay. So can I say it? They're like, no. All right. Never mind. Maybe I'll cut that whole part out because I don't want to tease you guys. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to tease them. All right. I'll say it like this. You know how Putin has this amazing ability, this talent. He has a talent, right? Of making people fall out of windows when he's not anywhere near them. You know how that happens? So some of that might be happening. Some more of that might be happening to some people. That's all I'll say. Okay, there, I did it. And I said it. I think I did it in a safe way. Okay, Marie Wilkes says, you've heard us talk about Trump not going to prison, but being held somewhere. Question, are they already building his Shangri-La? The guides just said Shangri-La, but you said jail. Already building his jail at the undisclosed site because they know he's guilty and are preparing. And the answer was so fascinating. The answer is so fascinating. They have these black ops sites, black operations, meaning, like supposed to be invisible, sites already done. And what was fascinating about it is there are these buildings that are self-contained, and the guides are calling them impenetrable. They already exist. They're already on military bases. But the interesting thing was why we have them. We have them because if we found a high value spy that we could not let the public know about, because you know why they don't want to, because the powers that be, blah, 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 but is too high value to detain anywhere, they go in these, and I'm saying they go, doesn't that sound like this has happened before? So we put them in these containers, these buildings, until we can either trade them or whatever we do with them. I don't know. I mean, we get rid of them. They go back to wherever they don't stay there. It's not like Guantanamo. We're not keeping people there. I don't see this being a dungeon situation, but they are places, they are secure facilities for high value people. Now, here's the really interesting point. The guides told me that there are facilities, not all. So I had to change it from these facilities to there are some facilities that are created to also theoretically keep ETs in should we nab one. That's what they told me. So no, we don't have to make them because we already have them. And Trump isn't even the highest value thing we've ever had to put in one. However, Trump would be a longer inhabitant of one, so they would upgrade the bathroom situation. I mean, I see a toilet, but it's a very, it's almost third world. I mean, it's not a hole in the floor. It's a toilet, but it is, it's not, it's a step below a prison. Okay. It's a step below a prison is what they're telling me. So if an ex-president were to need to go in there, they would put in a better sink. They're not going to put in a padded toilet seat or a gold toilet seat. Don't worry. But they would make it so that someone could live in there versus being held in there. There's apparently a difference if they're living there. There's some kind of regulation that if someone is living there, they have to have at least these things. I mean, it's not air conditioning. We know that, but it might have to be, potable running water. I don't know. I'm just telling you, they will have to retrofit it a little bit more for Trump, but it already exists and you never know. Whereas I don't see Trump staying with a general population prison because he's too high value. Somebody's going to shank him. He's going to buy a cell phone from somebody and be calling Putin. Look, our prisons are not that secure, to be honest with you. Even though he's not going to have like a roommate, maybe he'll have an alien roommate. I don't know. Maybe so. I don't know. Okay, let's move on here. Nana put into you, which here we're talking about put in now. Sounds good. Says, can your guides tell us if Trump will be on the ballot in all 50 states in the 2024 election? Now, listen to her reasoning because it's more important than what you may be thinking. Because right now, Colorado, there's a case in Colorado trying to get Trump removed from the ballot in Colorado. Now, this, again, is driving all the constitutionalists and the constitutional lawyers and professors. I mean, they're all pulling their hair out and not sleeping at night because this is an anathema to our democracy, to how we run this place. And we don't want to give the Republicans any more reason, right? So what if Alabama takes Biden off? What if Texas takes Biden off? You can see how, yes, it's a good idea, but you can also see how it could run amok. So your question is more, I think, more interesting and more layered. And it says, since ballots are already probably printed as soon as the primaries close, right? So we're talking about the primary, whenever that is that in May or something? So we're talking about by June, the ballots are going to be printed probably with Trump's name on it. I'm not going to guarantee that because I think there's some other things that could happen. Like he could cross over. He could get convicted by then. It's possible by June. It's possible that he's convicted because they're already sourcing grand jurors in New York for his trial. They're already sending out letters. So February and March is when Trump is going to be on trial. So he could be easily convicted by March. So I'm not 100% on board that he's going to be on the ballots. If he's convicted, I think he can still be on the ballots actually. And knowing him, he would do it. He'd run from prison. But anyway, right next to like they're showing me Chapo, like they're showing me some Mexican drug lord, and then here's Trump, and they're both running for president or something. It's crazy. So your question is, yeah, so you just said what I just said. So many things could happen between the primaries and November 5th. Do I actually see him being the one running against Biden, or will the RNC have to nominate somebody in his place? So this is the chaos I've been talking about. The guides have been telling you guys, I see when we get through, and it is really rough right now. I'm not going to lie. This is a really rough time in our timeline. When we get through all this and we get into the spring of next year, and especially around March, April, potentially into June, what I've seen energetically, now this can change, but it has not changed for almost 6 or 7 months. And when energy stays the same for that period of time, it's almost like concrete. It starts to set, right? I'm not saying it can't change, but it's harder to change. So the image I've seen is like a way, this is how they show it to me. I don't know why they're using this picture, but this is what they're using. It's like people just flat out lying on a battlefield. Now it's not violent. It's not violent. It's like They just knocked out. They're knocked out. They're knocked out of commission. So I see all of these people running right now, for that office out. They're just out. And I see nobody. There's no nomination because they went through every single person and every single person failed. Maybe they dropped out thinking that Trump was going to get the nomination. Maybe Trump got the nomination. Okay, here's our nominee. Then he gets indicted. And now the Republican Party doesn't want him to be on the ballot. Now they got themselves a problem. Now they got themselves a write-in situation. What are they going to do? Go out and tell everybody to write in somebody? I mean, it's a cluster flock is what it is. So that's what I see. He may be on the ballot. And if he is, it's historic. He's probably going to be running from prison or wherever the alien prison is. And I mean, I don't think you should do that to aliens. Let me just state that. But anyway, wherever he is, and wherever he is, I've always said to you guys, there's no communications. There's no cell phone. There's no TV. I saw there's a thing that looks like a window. And just because somebody wants to be mean, they put like a picture on the window of a McDonald's in the distance. You know what I mean? But it's not a real window. It's just a frame of a window with a picture on it to make you think out the window is McDonald's. You ain't never going to get. You're never going to get it. Cry. Cope. The kids these days say cope. Cope, son, cope. Anyway, that's what I see. I don't know. Make some sense of that. I don't know what I just said. Hopefully it made sense, but that's what I see. He may be on the ballot. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think the Republican Party could really be in a write-in situation. Now what could change is the energy in the Republican Party right now, which I tell you guys is falling apart. In the last video, I said Lindsey Graham was screaming at Tuberville. You have the Republican Party starting to come to their senses. They're going to lose it all. They're going to lose every election between now and 28, every single one of them. Now, if they came to their senses, and by the way, I'm wearing blue and stripes. I'm wearing stripes because Democrats are going to put them in jail. Made me feel better. But anyway, the Republicans could come to some last minute before you go over the cliff realization, oh, snap, and they may join with the Democrats. I've talked to you guys about that, bipartisan. They might join with the Democrats and start kind of slowly trying to turn the Titanic away from the iceberg. I'm not sure they're smart enough to know there's an iceberg. But if they can get it together, they could potentially sideswipe the iceberg and if they do that, they might pick somebody more reasonable to run against Trump and primary Trump and just see if it works. Now, who's more reasonable, right? I mean, if they were smart, to be honest with you, they would pick Adam Kinzinger. You know how I feel about Liz Cheney. Y'all know how I feel about Liz Cheney. But they might pick, even Romney, anybody. Not anybody. Never mind. When you say anybody to the Republican Party, they come up with MAGA Mike. I mean, you got to wonder. You got to wonder about them. Anyway, I'm going to leave that where it is with Donald Trump looking out a fake window at a McDonald's he ain't never going to get to because it doesn't even exist. All right, because that gives me pleasure and I don't care about my detention already. In detention. Never mind. Hurricane Force One says, do your guides see mandatory military drafts reinstituted in the next 5 to 10 years? No, I don't see that. And I'm going to tell you why. The guides, it's sad, but it's true. The last time we had a draft, Americans were more fit. Americans played sports, they hunted, they fished, they had activities, the hobbies that they did outside of playing video games. our military has been woefully under its recruitment priorities for years. We can't even beg recruits to come into the military. Number one. Number two, the ones that want to go into the military cannot pass the physical exam. So now the military's created a whole program that if you want to go into the military and you can't pass the physical exam, they'll work with you. There's a whole program that you can enter to get you ready to go into the military. Now, if we had a draft, who would we draft? There's not enough. I mean, this is sad, but there's just not enough human beings, within those age groups that could even pass the military the physical exam. So no, I don't see it. What I see is the military, what the guides are telling me is the military is going to start. I mean, we have a real problem in the United States with our weight, with our terrible BMI, with our terrible physical fitness. Okay. We have a real problem, and match that with our freedom. Like nobody's going to make us get out of our house every day and do calisthenics like they do in some countries. And it's a real problem too, because if we ever went to universal health care, well, the government would really start trying to incentivize us to be healthier, right? So that's what I see the military doing. I see the military incentivizing, going to high schools, maybe this is a national security problem, that you see the military going to the president and saying, going to Congress and saying, we need to pass new rules about what we feed our students. We need to pass new curriculum. This is why I think as well, the guides are saying, in the past, the guides have always told you, we're not going to fix this at the state level, anything. We're not going to fix anything at the state level. The states have lost their freaking minds, right? So what's going to happen is we're going to start passing laws at the federal level. And they always use the example of seatbelts, right? You have to wear a seatbelt in all the states, not just in one state. So that was an example of the federal government saying there's enough data here to suggest that a lot of lives would be saved if we all wore a seatbelt. That got passed on the federal level. So what I see happening in regards to this is, we're going to pass a lot of things on the federal level. Don't get me wrong, but I see the military going to Congress and saying we need to pass laws on the federal level about fitness, and maybe we incentivize instead of like the stick, maybe we have the honey. So maybe they incentivize it and they say, hey, you're a high school kid in the 9th grade, just starting high school. If you graduate high school and you keep your BMI in this range, we're going to give you $10,000. I mean, seriously, this is a national security problem. We don't have enough people to protect us, should we need to. This is a national security problem. So they're going to put money in it. I promise you, they're going to put money in it. So no, I don't see a draft, and I don't see a draft for those reasons. And I think even if we had the physical fitness, the American people would absolutely not, they would be in the streets. It would be not pretty. And both sides, the Dems and the Rs. Okay, next question. BJ Helder says, there was a cancer pill announced recently that appears to work in animals on many types of cancer. Will this work in humans, and when? Yes. I had the word, not immunotherapy, interferon, not CRISPR. It's not CRISPR. It's interferon or immuno. There's therapies, okay? And maybe CRISPR is one of them. There are therapies, including this pill, that will curtail cancer. I feel like in 20 years, I feel like we're going to make big strides in 5 to 8 years. And I mean, like almost double, like double the cure rate of cancer. I really think that. But in, say, 15 years to 20 years, cancer could be something that is chronic, but not so deadly. So it's something that you can live with, but it typically doesn't, like we're sort of like where we've gotten to HIV/AIDS. You take the pill, you're not going to die immediately. Your length of life is much, much longer. So this is where I see us going with that. And I think that's good. It's sort of like a treatable thing. And then also the guides are saying what we just talked about above is also going to have an impact, right? We're going to start being healthier. We cannot continue as a country to eat as poorly as we do and not get exercise. Our life expectancy is diminishing. And at some point, Americans are going to wake up and go, wait a minute, why are we all dying at 60 and Europeans are living to 90? And they're going to be really mad. They're going to feel betrayed by these food manufacturers and by the government who didn't protect them, because the government is supposed to protect us. And inasmuch as Democrats continue to compromise, bipartisanship, we're to blame. The Democrats are just as much to blame. At some point, you just have to stand up and say, no, I'm not compromising on this. This is poison. It's poison in Europe. Why isn't it poison in the United States? Okay, I'm going to move on. CJTG says, with so many Republicans heading for the hills, watch out, hills, because the Republican Party has been taken over by the crazies, will any of these seats flip to Dem? So let me translate what this person is saying. With so many Republicans retiring, and these might be Republicans that are in red districts. They might be Republicans that are in mostly red districts. Will more MAGAs take over those seats? Or will we get a moderate Republican, or will we get a Democrat? You know what's interesting? The guides are saying there's something like, there's a handful, 8, 10, 12 Republicans that won, but are in districts that Biden won. And those Republicans are the ones that should be nervous. But they're not. They're not the ones that are nervous for some reason. It's these ones in these really red districts that see that they have to be crazier and crazier and crazier, or higher. The bar gets higher for how crazy you have to be. And they're out. They're like, I'm out. This is crazy talk. I'm not going to do this, right? I can't be this extreme. I don't want to be this extreme. So I feel like the guides are saying there's opportunities for Dems. There's opportunities. This isn't a slam dunk, but there are some opportunities. The DNC needs to go in and recognize the opportunity. The DNC needs to support Dems that want to run in these districts. The DNC has decided they're only going to run Dems or support Dems that have a chance of winning, and that's all fine and good. But that you're basically throwing Texas to the wolves, right? You're throwing Mississippi, Florida, Alabama. You're throwing us to the wolves. You're not helping us. I'm not saying empty the bank account down here, and I'm not saying go on a fool's errand, but I am saying you have to run races to get people to have name recognition, to knock on those doors, to get the platform out there. You have to run a few races to build it. Of course, you're not going to win a race in a red district with one race, but you have to start somewhere. You have to get a toehold. You've got to start clawing it back. And if you just walk away, you've just thrown it away. Let me do one more, and then I think I'm going to sign off, and we'll do some more later. ACES 2342 says, how do the spirit guides, see the Tuberville situation ending procedurally or by like a military disaster. I'm not sure what a military, oh, I see a military disaster. You meaning we have some big problem militarily and we don't have people in these positions, and then it looks bad on Tuberville. Nothing is going to force Tuberville. He doesn't care if he looks bad. Again, the analogy of the alligator that grabs its prey and goes underwater and drowns it. That's what he's doing. He's drowning us. He doesn't care. He wants to kill the patient. He doesn't care. So how do I see it ending? Because he's not up for his, the guides. Oh my God. The guides just said his regime doesn't end. I was going to say his whatever election doesn't come until 26 or whatever it is. And the guide said his regime. That's hilarious. It's true. His regime doesn't end for a while. And I don't see him staying to the end of his term, his regime. I see him going out before then. Now, I have seen some, I've told you guys this in the last video, and I really think this describes the whole thing. When you're pushing back against energy, it's like this. It's like a punching bag. You punch it, it goes back and it punches you. So he's punching this energy and it's going to flatten him. The energy is going to flatten him. Whether or not that means that he has a health emergency and he literally has to step down, or he's gone so much that he can't block anything, or he's not out of the woods as far as like Jan 6 goes. He's not out of the woods. He could be implicated in that. He could be wrapped up in a RICO charge. He might end up, the guides are saying specifically, he might end up on somebody's indictment letter. There's lots of ways to get rid of him. He could be convicted. He could be indicted, which he doesn't have to stop being a congressman if he's indicted. You can be a congressman while you're indicted. Hello, George Santos. Convicted, once you're convicted, you cannot be in Congress. So he's going by hook or by crook, the guides are saying. But I think that we'll get some respite. We'll get some relief from his ridiculousness pretty soon. The guides have been talking about by the fall. We're in the fall, but by December, by January, for one thing, we're going to find a procedural way around him, because the Republicans are going to join us, and then we're going to have a better procedural way to get around him. And then the other thing is he's going to have a health issue. And then the third thing is, I think he's going to be indicted. So there's three, ways that we have to get out of this, to get rid of him, to get around him. And I think it's going to take all three. I think we're going to need to use all three. But there's three really heavy, meaty things. They're potent. They're not lightweight. These are potent tools that we're going to use. Spirit's going to help us. We're going to go around him, go through him, go over him, whatever. Energy is not playing anymore. He's playing, but the energy is not playing. That's what they just said. So with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. You get gold stars, you get ice cream, chocolate, caramel. What do you like? You can have it. Just have it on me. Have a cheat day, as they say. Thanks again for watching. Take really good care of yourself. This energy is bonkers. That is a spiritual term. It is bonkers. Do not get caught up in it. It's not for you. It's not for you. It's not. Do not get caught up in it. Ignore it. Put your head in the sand. It's not for you. Okay? Take really good care. I'll talk to you real soon right here on this channel. Subscribe if you haven't. You never know what the heck is going to happen next. You don't want to miss anything. We'll see you soon. For entertainment purposes only.